Richard Moore here. Welcome to the next step in the startup business tips of the day. This is the penultimate one, so I've really enjoyed this. Some of you guys have been really wonderful with your comments. Thanks for all the private messages and things like that as well. These 30 tips are coming from wonderful people I've spoken to over the years and all of the people I've connected with. But one thing that's really stood out, and this is why this tip's really important, is the need to be really different in what you're doing. Now, it doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel. It certainly doesn't mean you have to try and find something completely unique to do. You know, you don't have to find the next Facebook or Snapchat. And quite the contrary, what you need to be thinking is, whatever I'm going to deliver as part of my proposition, what I need to be thinking is, how can I make that thing a little bit more unique? How can I add a particular twist to it so that people are going to respond a bit more effectively? So let's take an example. Because there's a lot of hype around different particular areas where you might generate business. Take an example of, I don't know, real estate, for instance. A lot of people are working in that area. A lot of people are keen to move into it for varying reasons. Now, if you're going to move into that space, then the thing is that there are loads of other people doing the same thing as well. You've got to think, well, how can I, make myself a little bit more heard in this sea of noise? But especially now online, so many people are making a lot of noise. So thinking about being unique doesn't mean that you work in real estate in a completely different way, but it might be as simple as your voice or the way in which you convey yourself, the message, the marketing, the vibe you give off has something about it that has a particular twist that is particularly relevant to you. So as an example, I might do everything that the next person in real estate does, but the difference would be that perhaps I spin it in a particular way, or I come across in a particular way, or I never wear a suit. I don't know, something different about it. It could either be, in the product or proposition or service, or in the delivery of that, So a great example as well is if you look at a lot of products that are highly sought after, in the sense that they have great brand equity and they do really well. A product such as Red Bull. I'm using Red Bull as an example because I was in touch with John Hughes, the sales director. He's a wonderful guy who shared only a few insights with me, but was really helpful. And Red Bull is a great example of a energy drink that has huge following. It has an entire world and culture about it, to the point where it sponsors extreme sports events and some really amazing feats as a result of its being. However, arguably, there's not a million miles between it and the next energy drink, Even if you put together the likes of Red Bull and Monster, there are myriad other energy drinks underneath that are very little known substitutes for them. But even though they may taste the same as your average white label kind of energy drink that costs a quarter of the price, even though they have probably the same effect on your body, it's about the message, it's about the vibe, and that's what makes them unique. So the question is, if someone wants to buy Red Bull rather than the next insert name here, brand X of energy drink, it's often because of something unique about it, and people pay more money for essentially the same thing because the Red Bull one has perhaps a unique story about it. It makes you feel like you're getting some kind of value or higher prestige or something like that, when in reality the level of performance from the product itself on a base level is no different. So make sure you are unique, because you get some people who are trying to copy what a lot of people do out there, which is absolutely fine, but unless you add your own personal twist to something, you're not really going to make many noises out there. So there are probably hundreds, thousands of people who are involved in startup coaching, but for instance, the reason why 8-Step Startup is different is because I'm yet to find one who's actively engaged with professors, best-selling authors and business leaders to directly create a startup business course. And even if someone did do that, my approach is my approach, and unless they literally copied everything, then that is the unique element that, yes, some people might hate, but plenty of people will buy into. So make sure you think hard. What's the twist going to be? If you're doing something that loads of other people do in general, if you do affiliate marketing, for instance, what's the thing you're going to do that's slightly different? Otherwise, why are you going to be the person people buy into rather than someone else? Hope that helps. Final tip is tomorrow.